Now, you may have heard of Bleach because honestly, it's not a new manga. I mean, the series originally started publishing in 2001 and literally went all the way until 2016. It's had numerous seasons, movies of anime adapted, and I think it also has a card game. But regardless, this series is widely known in a very popular time of shonen anime. If you didn't see in my last manga haul video, I bought the entire first box set of Bleach, found it on sale that came to our store. Me, obviously being an avid manga and light novel reader, was 100% gonna start reading this. Now, truthfully, I don't really know anything about Bleach, except for the fact that the main character is the orange-haired dude, but other than that, I'm literally going into this series blind. If you're late to the Bleach party, similar to myself, well, buckle up. I'm gonna tell you if it's worth it or not. I've documented my time reading volumes 1 through 21 of the series, but I will give spoiler-free reviews after every so often in terms of reading volumes 1 through 21. I'll tell you how I feel about the story progression, how the art looks. Is it something that I'm enjoying? And who knows, I mean, if they're reprinting this first box set, especially with the new anime coming out soon, they might reprint some of the older box sets too. It's definitely a series that's super expensive to buy secondhand, so use this as kind of a little bit more judgment in terms of, okay, should I jump in or not? Because obviously I don't want you to waste your money. You know, it would really suck if the first day in the apartment, I pretty much cut my finger off. If you've never seen Bleach volumes, or you've never seen inside the box or all the volumes together, this is what it looks like. All right, so we got volume 1 now. Let me get my bookmark and let's go. All right, so I just finished volume 1. Here's my thoughts. I actually think this did a really good job setting up the environment, the premise, like the actual shonen story. I think kind of utilizing Orihime the way it did kind of set that premise for Ichigo of like, okay, I'ma do this. And I think it was a pretty good like first official big fight. And holy moly, there's some good art in volume 1. If you've read Soul Eater, I think that this is a pretty similar vibe. Just like the amount of comedy that's in here, which is timed pretty decently, I think. And the whole premise on Souls, although this is a little bit differently than what Soul Eater is doing, but I'm kind of excited to read volume 2. Overall, if I was at a bookstore, I would have bought volume 1 and I would have bought volume 2 as well. For the next part of this video, I'm going to read a couple volumes before I give another update because, well, there's 21 of them. Okay, kind of absurd that my man just pulled out a telephone pole. Back to reading. So I just finished volume 6 of Bleach, and let me tell you, I've actually really enjoyed this series so far. If you've read this series before, this is about the time where the big Kahuna one shows up, you know, the peekaboo you probably know what I mean. Try not to spoil it for anyone. And although it's taking me a little bit longer to read through these volumes than probably somebody else who's making YouTube videos about this series would, I really can't stop thinking about this series. For anyone who does not know, context-wise, I just started a full-time job, so I'm trying to make sure that I don't get fired within the first 3 days. And this series has done an incredible job, I think, building up the world, building up the environment about, you know, kind of what they're doing throughout the story. And then also has pretty decent like character building as well. But I think they've done a really good job with that development because the characters, like, it feels honest. It feels real. Like if I were in Chad's shoes or Orihime's shoes, I would honestly feel the same way that they do in terms of getting into this. I mean, just because they're super close to Ichigo and he's the start, that doesn't mean that they're just all in right away. There is still plenty of room for their characters to develop and maybe potential different points of conflict that will come up through the story as it progresses into the next arc with Rukia. But dang, I'm super excited to keep reading this. I literally sit at my desk and I like don't stop thinking about this series. I really think the series is heading in a good direction, so not going to give it a grade yet, but maybe by volume 12 I can give you a little bit of how I feel more in depth. I'm gonna go read a couple more volumes. I'll catch back to you at probably about volume 12. Okay, it's actually been a couple days since I've done a recording, but I'm actually about to start volume 16. And you may be thinking like, Jake, it's been like 10 volumes since you gave an update. That's like literally half the box. And you're right! This like rescue arc, we'll call it, so then I don't spoil it for anybody, has literally been going like 10 volumes almost. And let me tell you, I personally think, not like looking ahead or spoiling for myself, I literally think this rescue arc is going to end at the end of volume 21, which is kind of baffling. So let's look at an example of a new gen manga that probably a lot of people have read, Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer. So like in Demon Slayer, the anime right now is either at the very end of volume 10 or at the start of volume 11 at the time of this recording. But anyways, at that point through, let's say 10 volumes, they're on their like 4th arc. Keep in mind the 4th arc is going and not completed yet, so more like 3.5. In 3.5 arcs, 10 volumes, Bleach in that same amount is on the same thing. That's just like so baffling to me. But here's the really cool thing that I've thought about Bleach is like, I didn't really think like while I've been reading the last couple volumes like, oh my gosh, this arc is so long. Like I haven't thought that at all. I literally just came on a whim because I finished volume 15 and I was like, oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've done an update. How long has this arc been? And I looked back and I was like, oh my god, it's like 10. So I was like, oh my gosh, I better give an update now, because honestly, I think this arc is going to end at the end of the first box set. Like it's literally going to be a 15 volume arc. But here's the cool thing that I really like about Bleach. Bleach has kept it insanely entertaining the entire time. One thing that has fascinated me about Bleach, specifically in this arc, is its introduction of characters. There are so many characters that you get introduced, and so many important characters as well as part of this story. Not only for the rescue part, but the underlying mystery that is also a part of it. This is really hard not to spoil like anything. I'm just gonna say this now. Aizen was one of my favorites. If you know, you know. But the way that they've introduced these characters and even like developed some of these characters as well, like some of these new characters have gotten developments in the arc. Like part of the people opposing Ichigo have gotten developments. And it's all entertaining. The fights in here by Kubo are insane. They are drawn to such an insane degree. Like I'm literally sending pictures to my brother, someone who's not super big into anime, has seen a bit of Bleach, but is not like a heavy duty anime person like myself. And I'm like, oh my god, this stuff is crazy. The detail is literally insane in some of these fights, and the amount of lines that are in it as well are just baffling. And every fight like feels really important. Like things don't feel drawn out, things don't feel filler. I mean, Bleach is a pretty long series in itself, so like we'll see after this arc, but that's way in the future. I don't even own those volumes yet. But like this has been so entertaining to me. One of the things that I've also noticed about reading Bleach, trailing it back to things like Jujutsu Kaisen, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, is that for my shonen stuff that I like, I really want to read it first. Like look, Bleach has an anime, Bleach has a manga. Manga came first, anime came later. I've noticed that like with Bleach specifically, I love the mangas. I love the fights. Absolutely enthralled by it. It's hard to say whether I prefer the manga or the anime at this point because well, I just haven't seen the anime, but like I'm in love with this manga. And then let's look over to Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen. Absolutely fantastic series. Some of the best anime that I've seen, some of my favorites that I've seen. But I have the manga and I'm reading the manga and I just don't get the same feeling like as I do with Bleach. And I'm wondering if the anime experience, like experiencing those fights for the first time and stuff, and that animation and the drawings play like a huge factor on if I prefer shonen source material in the manga or like shonen anime adaptations. Like again, the Demon Slayer manga, the Jujutsu Kaisen manga is not bad. They're phenomenal. They're great. I like them. But if you tell me to rewatch Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen or reread the manga, like I'm gonna choose the anime every time. But like with Bleach, God, these manga panels slap. And I mean, like, it's gonna be hard for the anime. Like, I'm excited to eventually see the anime, but like, it's gonna be really hard to beat that. Anyways, that's just a small tangent that's probably meant for like a completely different video. So I'm gonna get back to reading because I've got 6 more volumes to read. and then we'll be at the final update. It's been a couple days since I finished Bleach. It took a lot of time to evaluate, scientifically analyze, mathematically formulate my official opinion on the first 21 volumes of the Bleach manga. And let me tell you, with a master's degree of animology, or the study of anime for you mouth breathers, I have come to the official conclusion that is scientifically proven, that is peer reviewed, analyzed, that Bleach volumes 1 through 21 slaps. Now, in all seriousness, I super enjoyed this series. It's actually probably, I would say, one of my top shonen reads that I've ever read. Now, I don't know if it could be as good as Chainsaw Man, because Chainsaw Man, in my opinion, is literally almost the perfect series. Now, that's seinen, and I'm pretty sure Bleach is shonen, so it's a little bit different of a genre, but either way, this series was incredible. Like I was mentioning earlier, there is such an incredible cast of characters that have a wide variety of personalities, strengths, weaknesses, different powers, and I would say really kind of like all but one of them balanced super well. The only one I didn't understand really was this guy. Just kind of felt incomplete. Like, we got their backstory. I'm trying not to spoil anything for anyone who's not read Bleach, but I don't know, maybe I just missed something. Maybe I was so excited like reading through the volumes because I was super enjoying it that I accidentally glossed over too fast. That's still like 97% of the characters being incredible, fitting their roles well, each getting perfect amounts of time for the impact of that character. Ichigo gets a lot of time, Rukia gets a lot of time. Ichigo's sisters not necessarily getting too much time. Also, volume 21, the end of that, why on earth did they leave me with that? Okay, like, I mean, it wasn't like super unexpected. Like, if somebody were to came up to me before I read volume 21 and was like, hey, is this character this thing? I could see that happening. I don't see how you're lying. But overall, if you want my official opinion, maybe you fast forward to the end here of this video. I super recommend Bleach, the first box set. Now, that's currently all that I own, so obviously I don't have any more to read right now. But if you want my opinions on the other arcs, because this is a lengthy series, as in like 686 chapters composed into 74 volumes. So honestly, I'm not even a third of the way done with the series. To me, that's super exciting. Even though, as I mentioned in the previous manga haul video, the other Bleach boxes are very hard to come by unless you're willing to pay an arm and a leg. I'm willing to go get it if you all want to see it. I mean, I'm getting a full-time paycheck. All I have to do is just save a couple paychecks and boom, I can get it no problem. If you want to accelerate that proposal, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, come back for another one, maybe drop a like on this video. Do anything you can to push the algorithm of this video, you know, leaving a comment, whether that's, hey, I hope you're having a nice day, or Bleach is awesome, I love Bleach, or I've seen the anime, now I want to read the manga. Honestly, I know that I'm late to the Bleach hype train, but this manga was really good. I also plan on doing this with other finished series of manga. For instance, Boys Run the Riot right here. This recently just came out within the last month and I haven't, and now that I'm moved and stuff and I finished Bleach, now I'm going to start reading other things. And so I can also give you an unbiased opinion about Boys Run the Riot because this is a manga only series. There's no anime adaptation, there's no light novel adaptation, it's just the manga. This is the final volume, so expect to maybe get a video of it in a couple weeks. And then let me also know what series you want me to review. Okay, so before we end, I gotta be a little bit transparent with you all. If you haven't seen on Discord, Twitter, etc., I recently got a full-time job. It's been awesome. I have the ability now to do a bunch of other things in terms of content, including a video soon where I give you my card and you spend money and buy me manga on Right Stuff. But the point I want to make real quick before the end of this video, this took a little bit longer than I wanted to make. Now, it wasn't because the editing was difficult or, you know, I didn't enjoy the series. If you didn't see in our Discord server, link in the description down below, my boss recently got COVID. And so when my boss goes down, my workload gets tenfold. Like, I basically had a week of insanity at work. This video was originally supposed to air last week, but I just simply didn't have time. Now that he's back in and things are kind of getting more normalized and back to normal, videos will definitely become more often. I feel like most of you probably understand, but I had to let you all know before this video ended. Anyways, roll the credits. Thank you so much for watching Atrocious Gameplay. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can go check out the other videos that I got over here as well. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like one because, well, YouTube's recommendations are usually pretty stellar. So I hope you have a great rest of the day. Hope you enjoy more manga and hope to see you soon.